You're listening to JFDI with the two Lauras, the podcast for social media freelancers who want to get more visible, streamline their systems, master their mindset, and make more sales. I'm Laura Davis, and alongside my co-host Laura Moore, we're on a mission to make working as a freelancer easier, because working from home shouldn't mean working alone. We believe relying solely on long-term clients is a big mistake. It means your bank balance is capped and puts your income at risk when a client cancels. We're on a mission to help you avoid the retainer trap, and we want you to build a more flexible business, which means you can make more money without working with more retainer clients. If you're worried about being stuck in the retainer trap, then membership is the place to be. Inside, we give you the systems, training, support and accountability to build out new offers that don't mean taking on more long-term clients and commitments. You get monthly training from world-class experts in their field. You get coaching and support from both us and our incredible community of hundreds of other social media freelancers. And to make your life even easier, you also get access to Hubsy, the only software you need to run your business. So whether you need to send an invoice, schedule your content, manage your email marketing, or set up a website or sales page, we've got you covered. Annual membership costs less than £3 a day, and all the details are in the description. Now, on with the show.
So the podcast is back. We've had a hiatus. We took a little bit of time out because honestly, if you've ever recorded a podcast, it's very time consuming to run a podcast. And so we wanted to have a bit of time off and come back with a new way of working. Running a podcast takes a lot of time and effort. And when there's two of you, it's really quite difficult because you have to try and find a time when you are both available, when you both have something to say, when you are both kind of in the right kind of frame of mind to record a podcast. And honestly, at the end of last year, we were finding that really difficult. So we are going to try something new. We had to have a bit of a mindset shift around the podcast, if I'm being honest, because we have always wanted the podcast to be the two of us. You know, we're the two Lauras. We've always wanted it to be the two of us on every single episode. And that comes with the challenges that I've just spoken about. So our mindset had to kind of shift. We had to remind ourselves that we're not a podcast company. We are not trying to grow an award-winning podcast. We don't always need to be on every single podcast. Our goal has always been to have a podcast that gives you, the listener, really great advice and information and helps you in some way. And if we can do that in an easier way for us, then we're onto a winner. So we're going to try a couple of different things over the next few months to see how we can make podcasting easier for us, whilst also giving you what you need in terms of the free, great content that the podcast provides. So in today's episode, I'm going to be sharing some tips and advice about how you can get paid on time as a social media manager. And you've just heard from Laura, but she's not recording this episode live with me. Sometimes it might be Laura coming into the podcast on her own. Sometimes we will both record podcasts. We're just going to see what works and what works for you, the listener, but also what works for us as busy business owners, people who are trying to help our members, people who've got 4 kids between us. You know, life is lifing. So we're doing our best, but I would love to hear what you think about whether this is a good way to run the podcast, whether you're still getting value from it, all of those things. We would love to know. So don't be shy, drop into our DMs and let us know all your thoughts and feelings about all of these changes. In today's episode, I want to talk about how you can ensure that you get paid on time as a social media manager. One of the things that we see come up time and time again is social media managers running into problems with businesses not paying them on time, therefore they don't have any money in their bank account, therefore they can't pay for their business expenses. We've even seen things as bad as not being able to pay their mortgage. So we want to make sure that you are setting yourselves up for success in terms of getting paid on time, even if you've never faced a late payment yet. Okay, now I'm sure there'll be lots of people listening to this podcast who have had issues where clients haven't paid on time. If you're not one of those people, amazing. That is brilliant. And I love that for you. But we want to keep it that way. We want to make sure that that never becomes a problem for you. So no matter which camp you fall in, I want you to take these 3 tips that I'm going to give you and try and plug them into your business as much as you can to reduce those issues that people have with those late payments from clients who, for some reason, just feel okay with not paying their bills on time. I don't know why they feel like that. But anyway, the very first thing that I'm going to say to you, and this is something you will have heard us say many, many times over the years, is that it's so important that you charge and get paid in advance. You are not a bank. You do not have to give a business credit. If a business wants credit, they can go to a bank. They can go to a credit card. They can get finance in various different ways. You don't have to take on that responsibility. Now, some businesses will say to you, well, we work on a 90-day payment term. Okay, great. That's good for you. But I don't. Okay, they need to understand that you don't work on a 90-day payment plan. Your payment terms are payment in advance or you don't start work. And I don't think that's unreasonable. Some businesses, of course, their admin is set up where they pay their bills every 90 days, which to me is just mind-blowing. But I've worked in various different companies as an employee where that's how they've worked. Over the years, I've only ever had 2 clients where I've had this problem. And both of the times I've been able to overcome that with a conversation. So I just want to talk you through what might have to happen if you do come up across that kind of issue where a client is saying, well, our payment terms are 90 days or 60 days or however many days. You just need to speak with whoever it is who deals with the payments. Now, if you're working with a company where you are speaking to, for example, the marketing manager, they're not the person to have this conversation with. They may be the person to loop into that conversation because they are the one who want you to be able to do this work, right? But they are not the person who kind of does the payment runs. They're not the person who makes the decisions on when that gets actioned, but they can push for you. So the person you want to speak to is probably going to be somebody in the accounts team. And what you want to find out is, what do you need to do in order to get paid in advance? Is it that when you send your first invoice, you're going to also send the next 2 so they've got them so that they can make sure that you are being paid in advance? What is it that you need to do so that you can get paid when you need to get paid? 9 times out of 10, businesses will work with you to try and do something so that they can allow you to do your job, and you don't have to do that for free. So it's all about having those conversations and being very strict with yourself that you're not going to start working until you've been paid, especially if it's because somebody's paying you late. What you want to make sure you're doing, though, is that a client knows right from day dot how you work. You want to make sure they know from a discovery call, maybe even in your marketing before a discovery call, and definitely at the proposal stage, they need to know that you work on a basis where you get paid in advance, right? I'm going to send you my invoice, my payment terms are 7 days, whatever it is, and when they can expect those invoices to land. So that's the first step. You charge in advance, you don't start working until you've been paid. The second step is the step where a lot of people kind of set themselves up for failure. Because if you want to be paid on time, you have to invoice on time. If you invoice late, you're kind of saying to somebody, oh, I've invoiced late, so it's all right for you to pay me late, you know? So you want to make sure that you're invoicing on time and ideally early. So if you want to be paid on the 1st of the month, for example, and your payment terms are 7 days, 14 days, whatever it is, you need to invoice 7 or 14 days before you need to be paid, right? And by sending your invoice late, you are allowing a business to pay you late. So you want to make sure that you are practicing what you preach, if you like. The easiest way to do that is by using automated invoicing so that you don't have to worry about it. You're busy, you're running client work, you are managing your life, maybe you're chasing after the kids, you know, you're living your life. You shouldn't be doing tasks that can be automated. So automated invoicing is one of those things that you should be passing off. If you are still sending manual invoices in 2026, please stop now. Please start automating this. I promise you, this will save you tons of time. It will take headaches out of your life, but it will also mean that you will start to get paid on time from clients who don't pay you on time. So you want to automate those invoices and make sure that they are sent in advance, so you never have to worry about it. We have got an invoice that we still have never received from somebody who we worked with. I think it's either 5 or 6 years ago now. They never invoiced us because they forgot to. They're not going to do that now because they would feel awkward. Like 5 or 6 years is extreme. But, you know, even if it was weeks later, they would still feel awkward. And look, I'm not going to go and chase somebody and say, hey, I owe you money because you haven't invoiced me. And no business is ever going to chase you for their invoice. It's up to you to get that invoice to them on time. The third thing you need to do is to remind people to pay your invoice. And I know that sounds really, really obvious. But if you can automatically remind people to pay your invoice before it is due, they are far more likely to pay you. Now, what happens in our business is that an invoice will land in our inbox. 9 times out of 10, Laura will see it and she will pay it immediately. She's responsible for all of our finances in the business, so she will see that and she'll pay it immediately. If it somehow slips through a rabbit hole or, you know, ends up in a spam folder or whatever, she will pay it as soon as the reminder comes in. If you're not sending reminders, you don't know if somebody hasn't paid you because they haven't had the invoice or because they are just being a dick. So you just want to make sure that people are getting their invoices on time and they're also being reminded to pay them. And those reminders should go out before the invoice is overdue. Okay, so you send the invoice maybe 14 days before it's due. They get a reminder 7 days before it's due, saying, hey, this invoice is due in 7 days, maybe 3 days before, this invoice is due in 3 days, this invoice is due in 1 day, and then this invoice is overdue, right? So you're just reminding them. A lot of times freelancers don't do that and they wait until the invoice is overdue. So the invoice becomes overdue by a day and they're like, oh God, my client hasn't paid me. Day 2, oh my God, they still haven't paid me. 7 days later, oh, I feel really awkward because I need to chase this up now. And this goes on and on and on. And the longer it goes on, the more awkward you feel to chase it up, which is crazy, really, because they're the one who should be feeling awkward because they're the one who owe you the money. You know, I feel really awkward when I know that somebody has asked me for money and I haven't given it to them. Like, it just feels awkward. So you need to stop feeling awkward yourself for asking for what you are owed. And when you automate that process, you don't have to worry about it. A final tip I'm going to add on those. So those are the 3 tips that I want you to really pay attention to, is to invoice on time, to make sure that you are using automated invoicing, but also to automatically remind people to pay you. But the 4th very powerful thing is to also add on, and I know this is going to make you feel really icky, late payment fees. Late payment fees make people realise that you are serious about being paid on time. And if you can automate that, even better, because you don't have to then feel awkward or start questioning yourself about whether or not you should add that late payment fee on, and oh, how much should I charge, and all of those sort of things that start running you through your head. And it's totally normal to have those feelings, by the way. If you automate that process, you take that yourself out of the game, you take the emotion out of it. Because the AI or the automation or however it is that you're doing it, that's what's dealing with it. And your client is just seeing it and going, oh crap, I didn't pay this on time. Now I've had to pay an extra 20 quid, 100 quid, whatever it is. Next time I'm going to make sure that I pay on time. Or they might email you and say, I'm so sorry. Is there any chance that you can waive these late payment fees? And then that's up to you to say yes or no. It's like when you get a parking ticket, right? If you get a parking ticket, the next time you park, you're going to be so much more careful about where you park. Late payment fees do exactly the same. So they're going to be much more careful about paying you on time because they've seen the consequence, the fine. So if you can add those late payment fees on automatically, you will avoid all of that. Now, if you are somebody who fell into the bracket of people who've never had this issue before, like I said, this is amazing. Brilliant. I hope this continues for you. But these are the ways that you can avoid that ever starting up. So make sure that you are thinking about all of these things. Now, we love Hubsy for this particular purpose because Hubsy allows you to automatically generate those invoices. As soon as somebody has signed your contract, you can automatically generate their first invoice. You can then set up recurring invoices so that every single month on a specific date, that invoice can be sent to whoever it needs to be sent to, whether that's the direct person that you speak to or the accounts team or whoever, it can be sent to them. And you can automatically send those reminders without you having to do anything, without you even having to think about it. It just runs in the background whilst you're doing other things. So you don't have those awkward, emotional, icky feelings. And it can add those late payment fees so the clients know that you're serious. So Hubsy is perfect for this kind of process. And if you don't already have Hubsy, then definitely consider joining the membership next time we open so you can get access to that system. If you do have Hubsy and you're unsure on how to work and run this, then feel free to drop into the members portal. We can obviously chat you through how you can set this up. But please do make sure that you are putting these kind of systems in place, because we don't want to see you running into the issues that freelancers face when they are not getting paid on time and you've got bills that you have to pay yourself and you're relying on that money to come in so you can pay those bills. Maybe it's the tools that you're using, maybe it's, other freelancers who you're outsourcing to, all of those responsibilities that you have to go and pay for that all rely on that client paying you on time. You want to make sure that you've got these systems set up so that you don't run into those issues where there's no money in the bank for you to be able to pay for all of those other responsibilities. So that's how you get paid on time. You want to send your invoices on time, in advance, automatically, and make sure that you are automating those reminders and adding those late payment fees. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. Do drop into our DMs and let us know what you think of the new way that we're going to be running the podcast. We are totally open to ideas, by the way. And let us know whether you've ever run into any of these issues with late payments as well.
If you want more support, strategy and systems to run your social media business, we send exclusive content to our email list almost every day. You can sign up at thetwolauras.com/emails. And make sure to follow us on Instagram at thetwolauras and visit our website, thetwolauras.com, for more advice and support. Thank you so much for being part of our community, and we'll see you on socials.